Hi everyone, this is Heather Lahtinen from the Flourish Academy. It's our weekly Q&A, but guess what? I forgot to post for questions, so I don't have any. Isn't that great? So this is probably going to be a pretty brief Q&A because there were no questions. Oh, it's so funny. Oh, that's just the way it goes. It's okay. So I thought what I would do is take one question that I was asked a few times this week alone, but I'm also asked quite often, so I thought I would address it. And the question is, how did I get started in photography? And I'd like to say that I am, and by the way, if you have any questions, you can post them during the video because we don't really have a Q&A, but I like to say that I am an accidental wedding photographer because what happened is Ella was about not quite a year old, maybe 6 or 8 months, and we went to my cousin's wedding, and I had my little point and shoot. It was a Canon G3, and my cousin said, hey, could you take some photos of our wedding? And I was like, who's your photographer? And she was like, oh, just you. And I thought, oh, well, that information would have been useful yesterday, but I mean, that's great. We can do it. So I took some photos of their wedding, and they were so appreciative. They were just snapshots. But I had a lot of fun, okay? And I got into weddings. I just, one wedding led to another, and I shot 3 weddings that year and 30 weddings the next year. Now that's where the story seems to start, but let's back up a little bit. I was in college. I went to college for mechanical engineering, and I also have a business degree from Robert Morris. And while I was in college, 19 years old, I was at Penn State. My brother was tragically killed in a motorcycle accident, and I would call that a pretty major bummer. Yeah, it was not a good time for us. So I was 19, he was 26, and we were getting ready for his funeral, and we were looking for photos. And we figured out that we did not have a lot of recent photos of him. In fact, the most recent photo of us together as a family was about 3 years old. And that was crushing because now he's gone, and we don't have the opportunity to create those memories. I picked up a camera that day, and I swore that that would never again happen to my family. I would take pictures constantly, just a point and shoot. I wasn't interested in photography. I just wanted to capture our memories. So again, I was 19. I finished out my education, and I took a ton of photos, and I didn't really think anything of it. I shot mostly in auto mode, really wasn't a thing. Well, when Ella was born in 2002, I got a little more serious because I wanted to take some nice photos of her. That's when I got that Canon G3. It was so fancy. It was a point and shoot with a hot shoe, but I didn't know what flashes were or how to put it in it. After I shot that first wedding, the second wedding I shot was a little bit bigger, and I remember getting this little tiny flash to go in that hot shoe, but again, I was still just kind of point and shoot. These were weddings where they hadn't hired a photographer. It wasn't their priority, and that was fine, so I just took snapshots. They have some memories, and I have photos to show you that are, wow, well, they're interesting. And okay, after those first couple of weddings, I went from 3 to 30. I purchased a Canon 10D, and I thought, man, this is awesome. It's a big girl camera. I can do this. I shot 30 weddings that year. I had to leave my job because I had so many weddings. It was crazy. Now, why were all of these people hiring me? Hey, that's a great question and very valid, because to be honest, my work wasn't that great. I mean, one could argue that they were hiring me because I was cheap, for sure. Those first few weddings I did were free, of course. And then I was in the $500 range for a few weddings, and then, up to $1,200, and then just continued to grow from there. I don't think it has anything to do with the photos, because people don't buy your photos, they buy you. I think it was people that I connected with, we just understood one another, and they liked me. So they hired me to take their photos because I was not a good photographer. So I think when we're learning photography, a lot of people come to me to learn photography. Of course you have to learn photography. I mean, I am not minimizing that, but I think it's more about, people and clients and relationships, because people buy from those that they know, like, and trust. And I just made a lot of connections with a lot of people, and my business just grew from there. So I'm an accidental wedding photographer. I never was interested in being an entrepreneur. I did not think I had that spirit. I was in the corporate world, mechanical engineering. I was doing well. I was making good money. I was climbing the corporate ladder. and I thought that that's where I would stay. In fact, the last project I worked on with the engineering firm I was with was for the United States Air Force, and I remember very clearly I was at Langley Air Force Base, and I was sitting in the office of a 4-star general who was our client. I was the project manager on that project. What? It was crazy. It was the most amazing experience, and I loved it, but I thought, is this what I want to do with my life? I don't know. I guess. I don't know. I was just going to continue to work for corporate, and photography found me, really. I didn't go seeking it. I did like to take pictures and document things, but I didn't have any aspirations to do that. I never thought I would make it as an entrepreneur. I didn't understand how to run a business. I didn't know anything about nothing. And I left my job. Ella was about a year old, maybe a little bit older, and I just went for it. That was 14 years ago. And here we are. And now I cannot imagine doing anything else. And I love being an entrepreneur. You know why? Because I value options. And I like to be able to make my own decisions. If I want to work more and make more money, I work more. If I want to take some time off, I take time off. Isn't that fantastic? I love that freedom. Freedom and options. I don't think I could ever go back working for the man now. Okay, I could. As a consultant, I would never want to be tied to a job again because I just love this freedom. And now at this point, I consider myself a multi-passionate entrepreneur, even a serial entrepreneur. I want to start like 5 businesses a day. I have a million ideas. Hey, we could start this kind of business, and then we could do this, and then maybe I could sell that, and I don't know. It's just a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun working with you guys. So I don't know, maybe that inspires someone. I didn't know anything about anything. I did have that business degree, but it wasn't really. It was an MIS degree in computer science, so it wasn't like I didn't take a single, not one entrepreneur class, not one. Just self-taught in that realm. A lot of self-taught in photography as well. Desiree says, "You sound just like me with the ideas." Yeah, I have a million ideas. It's a problem because sometimes it steals my focus. But I like to think that if I could do it, anyone could do it, because I was not a photographer. I was not an entrepreneur. It just kind of found me. There were definitely some growing pains. I made a lot of mistakes. I had some great years, and I had some years that I just struggled. But I found myself along the way. The most important thing you can do is know thyself. What makes you tick? What do you love? Stay in your lane. What are you passionate about? And don't do the other things because they just drain you, right? So I figure out very quickly what I don't like, and I don't do it. Now, when I started in photography, I photographed everything, anyone, anything, because I just wanted to learn. I was just really hungry. So I didn't specialize in weddings till, oh my gosh, I'd have to look at when I started my DBA. So my LLC is Heather Lawton in Photography, and then I have a DBA doing business as Weddings by Heather. I have to look at what year I started that. I want to say it was probably 2005. So it was a couple of years in, and I photographed everything prior to that. Anything, if somebody asked me, can you take pictures? Before they even finished their sentence, I would say, yes, I can take pictures. I don't even know what it is. I just wanted to learn, because the key is you can't say right out of the gate, I am going to love this type of photography, because you don't know until you engage in it. You know, clarity comes from engagement, not words. So you could say all day long, I want to be a wedding photographer, but until you shoot a handful of weddings, you really don't know. You know, I would say, oh, I want to be a newborn photographer. I shot a ton of newborns. Was it fun? Yeah, you guys are super cute, but it wasn't my passion. I didn't get lit up about it. You know, it didn't give me a lot of energy. So I encourage you to pay attention. If you're shooting a whole bunch of different type of sessions, pay attention to the ones that you love. You know, what ones do you look forward to when you see them on your calendar? What are the ones you're excited to edit and deliver and that you just like can't wait to work on them? That's probably your lane. And if you shoot weddings and you hate it, and you hate the editing, and which, by the way, I have a few clients this has happened to. They thought they wanted to get into weddings. They did a few, and they're like, oh my gosh, no way. Too much work, too much commitment, the editing, crazy. They were out. But this is just like paying attention to who you are and what you love. I think that would be my best piece of advice for you, is to photograph. If you're new, and you're photographing everything, I think you should continue to do that, but just pay attention. And the things that you don't like, stop doing them because they're not worth the money. They are taking away your energy from the places where it would be better focused and you could make money in those areas. Huh, how about that? I hope you guys found this Q&A useful. Isn't that hilarious? I didn't have any questions. I forgot to post. I'm so sorry. I'll do better next week. Speaking of next week, today is Friday. Monday's my birthday. I love my birthday. I love my birthday month. Oh, ironically, my brother that passed away, he died on September 5th, right before my birthday. Now, why in the name of Mike he would do that, I do not know. But that was a decision point for me. I could choose to either just, suffer and grieve and feel awful, or I could choose to turn it into a celebration because my brother's death was an incredible blessing to me and there were so many redemptive qualities that came from it. I know that suffering is hard, but there's always a redemptive quality. Sometimes you have to wait to work your way through it to see it. But so September could either be a month for me that's like doom and gloom, oh, my brother died, or I could choose to celebrate. I celebrate September not just because of my birthday, but Craig and I also started dating in September a couple weeks after my brother's funeral. I met Craig as a result of my brother's death. Can you imagine? Oh, praise God. His grace is amazing because I wouldn't be where I am without that whole incident in our family. So that's how I got started in photography. I hope that you found this useful. I'll see you in the next video.